Well, thank you, Ms. Gifford, for setting up this meeting today with me. How's the remodeling project of your house going?
It's going slow, but it is moving along.
It'll be awesome to have a nice, fresh, clean bathroom when you're all done.
It will.
Awesome. Well, to start off, I just want to let you know our roles as we go into this process. My job is to help facilitate you and help you feel confident in working through these issues that you're having in your classroom. Your job as the classroom teacher full-time will be the most involved with the student. We'll work as equal partners, and we'll also include the parents in here as well, and any other school personnel we think will have expertise to share with us. Pretty much the main goal of our session today will to be establish a clear identification of the problems that we're having with the student, set up a time for some observations, and then maybe even a few intervention ideas for you to take with you.
Perfect.
I do want to let you know that this is confidential. Everything that we discuss or documents we create will stay just between us and any other people that we think will help our student in this situation who need the information. All right, so tell me, to start off, about some strengths that Levi has.
Well, Levi, as a kindergartner, he really likes his fine motor activities. So whether it be working with Legos or during math time when we get all of our manipulatives out, he's a very hands-on student.
Okay. So specifically, which subject area do you think that he excels the most in?
I would definitely say math.
Math. As outside of school?
He is pretty young for his age, and I know his home life, he has a lot of siblings that are close in age to him.
Okay.
Mom is a single mother, and so outside of school, Mom has verbally told me, that she kind of struggles. She's got all boys. So his life outside of school, typical younger kid really struggles with sharing, and that reflects all the way back into school several times throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if he's involved in any extracurricular activities, such as Boy Scouts or anything like that?
He is not.
No. Okay. Now, specifically getting into your concerns with Levi, let's start with how are you feeling at this point after having a little bit of time of struggling with this? How are you feeling about it?
So at this point in the school year, I've noticed that Levi is significantly behind academically. It's very frustrating because he easily gets frustrated.
Okay.
And so, there are days where he has really great days and he is on, but overall in the end, he is just not academically meeting the standards that need to be met.
Okay. Are you noticing any behavioral problems that are spurring from his being behind in the academics? Does he act out behaviorally because he doesn't understand that material? Do you notice anything like that?
Yes. So specifically, not so much in math because he likes working hands-on, but I've noticed in reading and language arts, he's not at the level of beginning how to read like the rest of his classmates are. And so he tends to get bored, and that's when he most likely ends up acting out.
Okay. So let's just try to focus on one specific subject area for today's issue of concern. If you were to narrow that down, what subject area would you want to focus on first?
Let's focus on reading, simply because that's just where he seems to be struggling the most.
Okay. And what does the reading portion of your day look like right now?
So our reading portion we usually do in the morning, and it ranges anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, just depending on our schedule.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That is a very long time. But during that time, we do a lot of transitions throughout the classroom. So there are times where we're at the carpet, there's times where we're at our desk. obviously as kindergartners, they need to be moving quite frequently, so we do a lot of that in our classroom, which at times helps his behavior.
Good. Okay, so movement helps. That's good to know. Assuming, is there a small group time and a whole group time?
Yes, so we usually start out with our whole group time, and then shortly after they come in from recess, we transition into our small reading groups.
Okay, that's a good break between.
It is.
Handle those transitions. Does he benefit from them when after the transition? Can he get back to being focused and working?
So I've noticed that transitions actually help him a lot.
Okay.
If he, for example, is struggling with a worksheet and it's just not clicking with him, which tends to happen more because a lot of the kids at this part of the school year are independent, and so they can somewhat read directions by themselves, whereas he can't. So if he's struggling or gets really frustrated, I've noticed that a transition gives him a little bit of break, and then he's usually ready to come back.
Okay, so that's good. What was I going to ask you next? Oh, how is his reading in whole group versus in small group?
So that would probably be my main concern. Levi, at this point in the school year, cannot read. Unlike the rest of his students who have built upon that with learning their high frequency words, which in kindergarten is the main part of learning how to read, he really struggles with that part of it. And so he will gladly echo read for you, but any way of having him read on his own is not going to happen.
So probably small group is a little bit better because he gets that echoing.
So small group, I actually have to have him in his own little group, so it's more of a one-on-one time.
Okay, yeah. 1-to-1. All right. So as far as, his reading duration, it would be like his stamina would be very
It is
minimal.
very short and very minimal, yes.
About how long do you think he is willing to sit and try to read with you before the frustration that you mentioned comes into play?
For probably about 10 minutes. During that time, we're not always reading. I try to start off with him, asking about how his morning's going, or if I've noticed that he's kind of struggled at some point. So I would say probably anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes before he starts
stamina. Okay.
Before he starts realizing that he's not with the rest of the group.
Well, that's good data to have.
Right.
I appreciate that. And so now how does Levi react personally to the frustrations of his reading? Is he aware of this issue, do you think? Does he have a like for reading? You said he really liked math more, so how does he react to reading?
Don't think he enjoys reading.
Okay.
I think he's definitely noticed, with his peers that he is behind, but I don't think it bothers him too much. He's gotten pretty good with trying to suppress that. At the beginning of the year, obviously there were a lot more physical concerns.
Okay. So it sounds like he's not self-conscious of his reading right now. He just doesn't really like it.
He just doesn't, yeah.
Okay. Is there any disruptions or work that is not done because of this?
So disruption-wise, usually when he is at his max, he's changed quite a bit throughout the school year. At the beginning of the school year, when he first came to kindergarten, it was a lot of hitting and kicking people. And now he's at least matured to the point and understand that that's not okay to do. So now he's to the point where he just physically shuts down.
Okay.
He won't move. He won't get out of his seat or off the ground, wherever he will be at during that time.
Yeah, so that's definitely an obvious reaction to the reading.
As for his work, when something like that happens, I've learned with him that if I continue to pressure him into doing it, he'll just shut down even more. So usually what happens is I'll give him a timer, and I'll set it for about 5 minutes, and I'll let him kind of cool down. And then when he comes back, I'll kind of see and feel him out. Is he really ready to do this, or should we just come back to this at a later time?
Okay. So you're giving him a chance to cool down, and then that's how he responds the
Right.
best. Okay, great. So just to kind of summarize our areas of concern, it's really just with the basic reading
Yes.
beginning. What does he have accomplished so far as maybe his alphabet? Is he able to recognize the letters and sounds so far?
So far at this point of the school year, he should be able to recognize majority of the letters and their sounds in the alphabet, except for probably the last 5 that we've learned. He unfortunately can only recognize maybe a handful of them, and those happen to just be the ones with the letters that he has in his name.
Okay, so he's able to recognize about 5 letters.
About 5, yeah.
Okay. Interventions have you tried besides the just taking a break from a little bit? Have you tried any other specific interventions on your own yet?
So one of the interventions is we do have a parrot in the classroom at that time.
Okay.
And so during his seat work, he usually has the parrot sitting next to him, whether it be she's reading the directions to him,
Okay.
or if the rest of us have moved on with the paper, she can go back with him. We've also simplified maybe the assignment. So,
Okay.
for example, usually on Thursdays we practice spelling words, where obviously the other kids can spell the words, whereas him, we simplify it and just working with, all right, what's the beginning sound you hear in frog?
Oh, okay. For his level, it sounds like. Step you'd like to see in this from us, for me to help you and our SAT team. What's the next type of intervention that you think we could help you with?
Right. I think probably our next step with the SAT team is probably collecting a little bit more data. We have our end of the year tests coming, and then I think at that point we probably need to sit down with his mother and show her the facts. She's pretty much aware of it just from meeting with her beforehand that Levi has the strong chance of, just for him academically, to repeat kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
Just so he can get some of those skills that he has missed throughout the year.
Right, I could see how that will be maybe a little bit of a touchy subject, even if she's aware of
Right.
it, and even a little exhausting on you having
Right.
to do all that again. Okay, so we want to collect more data. Now, would you be open? Would you like me to come and make some observations on him?
I think that would be great.
Okay. Be sure to come in during that specific reading time. Do you think he would would he notice that will he act differently if I'm in there interviewing?
I do not think so.
Or observing? Okay.
No, he's pretty used to people coming in and out of our classroom.
Okay, good. Okay, so we talked about collecting tests. So specifically, probably we're looking at the dibbles.
Yes.
The maps testing.
The maps reading, yes.
That's maybe a suggestion for an intervention that comes to the top of my head is when we do get mom on board with us, including her in the intervention process. So if there's something that you're practicing in your classroom, then maybe we could have her try to practice that same skill at home.
At home.
Even if it's maybe we can start small with 5 to 7 minutes.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that would be great.
Okay, so I'm thinking like 5 to 7 minutes on alphabet flashcards.
That would be great.
flashcards, or is that something we can find for you?
No, I have a set of flashcards.
Okay. All right. So that'd be a good beginning intervention, I think, along with what you're doing already, and then we can revisit some of the specific areas with the data with the rest of the team. So just to kind of come up with a summary of everything that's happening, Levi's major area of deficit is more, so it looks like it's a skill deficit. He just doesn't have the reading skills. So skill deficit, current intervention is one-on-one with you or a para. It's an intervention that we have talked about then was the 5 to 7 minutes of flashcard practice, both at school and at home. And then we will reconvene for me to set up a time. I'll first set up a time with you, and I'll just come observe before I think we have our next SAT team.
All right.
And would you like to call Mom to invite her, or would you like me to?
I can go ahead and call.
Okay, so if you want to call Mom and invite Mom to our next SAT team interview, how long do you want to wait to do this? Maybe would you like 2, 3, 4 weeks?
I would say we probably need to get moving on this, so I'd probably say 2 weeks.
Okay, so let's say in 2 weeks we will meet. Is there any other school professional that you think we could involve in our SAT team? Thinking maybe our Title I teacher.
I think Title I would be needed.
So we have in attendance you, me, Title I, Mom, maybe even our paraeducator who's always with him. Okay, so I'll let you talk to her. I'll talk to everybody else, and we will meet again in 2 weeks to see how this intervention has been going, and then get some more ideas.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
You too.